Alright people, it's Spratt here, and today I have a different type of video for you. So I always get questions about how I record my gameplay, how I record my webcam, my audio, how I edit my videos, how I edit my montages. So I thought it was finally time to put all that into one video, show you guys a step-by-step process of how I record, what software I use, what hardware I use, and how I edit my montages, which is like the most common thing. I'm not the best editor in the world. I'm really happy with the videos I make, and you guys seem to enjoy them. So I thought it was finally time to put all those into one video, show you guys how I do it, and help some of you guys out if you're just starting YouTube or you're just getting into gaming and you want to know the basics of how to record everything and how to put them together and make an enjoyable montage. So hope you all enjoy. Drop a like if you do. Share this around if you feel like you've got a friend or someone you know that's getting into Call of Duty or gaming and wants to know the basics of how to make a montage or how to make a YouTube video. So all that bot gameplay you saw right there, I was actually recording my monitor. I was screen capturing the software. So as you can tell, quality is incredible. I'm using the Elgato Game Capture HD 60 Pro. Absolutely beautiful, the quality, 1080p, 60 FPS. The quality I put to best because my PC can handle it, but if you can't handle that, you can put it down to good. It's still incredible quality. If your PC isn't as good or you have a laptop or whatever, there's other Elgatos out there that I'd highly recommend. You can check the website. I'll put a link in the description below, but the software they have is incredible. I only use it for the gameplay though, and the sound capture, which records my Skype calls and stuff like that. I'll pop that up on the screen right now, but I only use it for that just because I don't like change, okay? I don't like change. I don't like recording everything in this software, even though you can. Right now I record my gameplay in this software. I'll go over here, drag this across the Logitech webcam software. You can see me right now. I'm going to show my face because I'm looking like a true slob today. So then I'm going to use 1080p in here. I think it's 30 FPS. I'm using Logitech C920, which is pretty common webcam for YouTubers to use. And then for the audio, I record with a Mod Mic 4, and that just attaches to any headset you want. It's absolutely beautiful quality for what it is. Like, it's just a mini mic right here. So I use that in the Audacity free software, an audio recording software, but it just creates a project file, keeps the raw audio, and just allows me to customize that whenever I want. So I keep it all separate just because I like to. Webcam separate, audio separate. But now we've got that out of the way, I want to show you guys the editing software I use and how I put all this together and make a montage. But the software I use for editing my videos is Sony Vegas Pro 12.0. Obviously, there's a lot of newer versions out now, and there's certain software that's similar to this, like Adobe Premiere, maybe Final Cut Pro for if you're on a Mac or whatever. And obviously, you got to buy these, but there's some free softwares out there, like maybe iMovie or Windows Movie Maker. Like, obviously, it doesn't sound like much, but you don't really need much to make a good montage. You just need good settings, good music, and a nice synchronization between the clips and the music. And that's what I'm going to show you guys today. I don't do anything crazy with editing. I just sync the clips really well to the music. So I'm going to go through Sony Vegas Pro 12 here. The project settings I'm not really going to talk about. All you need to know is that if you're recording in 1080p, which is what I am recording in, as you can tell with the Elgato here, 1080p 60 FPS, you might be using something else. You might be using an older version of the Elgato, and if you are, you're recording in 720, just make sure that your project settings are set to 1280 by 720 or whatever. So there's not really any crazy settings there. You're probably better off YouTubing Sony Vegas Pro settings. But now we're going to get into the stage. Once you've got all that footage, you want to put it together. And if you're recording like a live commentary or a live gameplay, you want to make sure it's all synced together and you're recording everything separately like me. Like I said, if you're in the Elgato software, you don't have to worry about that. But if you're recording separately, just go to your recording software all together and then just say like 3, 2, 1 game setup, okay? And then what you're going to do is just sync all the audio, the webcam, and the gameplay together. And that's simple as that. And that way you know that it's all in sync, okay? So when you throw it in your editing software, you've got a video track for your gameplay, you've got an audio track for your gameplay audio, you've got a video track for your webcam, and an audio track for your commentary. And that's simple as that. But I don't want to talk too much about that. We're going to show you guys how to edit a montage. So the first thing you're going to need is a song, and I've picked an old Logic song just because I know it has no issues with copyright on YouTube and third-party claims, anything like that. It's a pretty good song, a pretty old song, but it's really good for syncing. There's so many good synchronization points. You can have some gunshots or a transition on a sync point. There's so many different spots, and I'm going to show you guys that right now. So what I'm going to do first off is I'm going to listen to the song and I'm going to put markers down on certain points where I feel like it's good to have a gunshot or a transition or whatever. And there's just so many good points in this, so I'm not going to mark them all, but I'm going to mark the basics. And I'm using a rap song right now, but it's the same with rock and same with any other genre. So I'm going to go through now, put some markers down by clicking M, and we'll get into this. Various women, I'm swimming in like a shark, tear the pussy apart, shorty it's on after dark. Alright, so they're just like basic ones. Obviously there's a lot more in between those, but if you wanted, you can go through now, tweak them a little bit. The markers I don't really use now, but this is really good to like figure out where you want it to be. So obviously that right there is where that sync point is. You go in, zoom a little bit, right here is where the sync point is. And when you start doing this a lot more, you'll figure out what looks like a good point. Right now, I've gone through all that, and yeah, there's some good ones there, but there's obviously few in between. If you listen right now, there's a couple in between these two here that might be good for a shot. Like this one right there. Like, I don't know anything musical, okay? So I'm just going to sit here and say that is a good kick noise or a good point right there. So we're going to throw one there, and there might be another one. As you can tell, it's the same thing here. So let's try this again. Various women, I'm swimming in like a shark, tear the pussy apart. Shorty, it's on after dark. So as you can tell, there's so many different points on here that work well with the clips. So now what we're going to do is I'm actually going to throw on some clips. So you don't have to do anything there. We're going to go to my folder. I've got a bunch of clips here. Going to highlight them, go over to Vegas and drag them into project media. And we need to get rid of that screenshot there. So we're going to start off by just throwing a clip in here. The first thing you want to do every time is right click on the gameplay switches, disable resample. Otherwise, you're going to have some ghostly thing. It looks terrible. I'll show you right now. When you slow-mo it, look what it does. It just is this ghosty thing. So you're going to right click switches, disable resample, boom, you're all good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to start straight away here. I'm going to start when the vocals come in and when he starts rapping. So let me just find that real quick. So that one's here. If you want, you can rename it and just put start, all right? Not that you need to, but we're just going to do that. So I know I hit mark someone at the start here, so I'm actually going to make sure the second shot goes here. Now, you got to look at the gameplay audio. Obviously, with remaster, there's a lot of airstrikes and helicopters, and it's really unfortunate that it messes with the gameplay audio. So you kind of have to look at the actual gameplay if you feel like it. Obviously, you can listen out and figure out when the gunshot's about to start, but right here you can see that's where the bullet's about to come out, so the gameplay is showing that the gunshot, the gun sound is about to happen. So we're going to throw that there. What I'm going to do is go through here and I'm going to do a split and stretch technique for my slow-mo and speeding up clips. There is another way you can do this. It's called event velocity, which a lot of people are going to be like, you don't use velocity? How dare you? Like, a lot of people really enjoy it. It is good. It is good. You go video envelopes, event velocity, and what you're going to do is you do keyframes, and it just allows for more customization. I'm not going to do a tutorial on it now, but basically you do keyframes. You're going to put one there 100%, drop another keyframe here. You got to bring that keyframe down to like 60, 50%, whatever you want. Then it's going to slow-mo. It's going to play at 50, 60%, whatever you set it as. Drop another keyframe. Maybe you want it to go back to normal speed. You pop another one up, and then gradually goes back to whatever you put it as, 100% or whatever it was. So that's a way to do it. It allows for more customization, a lot more control, but I don't think it looks way better. I think if you get split and stretched down really, really well, it doesn't matter too much. But like I said, a lot of people love velocity. It really is like the more professional way to do it. But like I said, I don't really have too much time for that, and I've never had any problems. Some people even think that I use it just because of how well I kind of merge it together. So yeah, don't be afraid to try different ways. Whatever you think's working well for you or you feel comfortable with, roll with that. But right now we're going to use split, which is S. So I'm just going to show you right now. You split that up. We're going to hit Control, drag it, and that's going to slow-mo it. And basically right click on properties on the audio and lock to stretch. Otherwise your gameplay is about to sound terrible. How horrible does that sound? So right click properties, lock to stretch. Sounds pretty good. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to bring back the gameplay, bring back the audio for the song, and we're going to start syncing this up, and I'm going to show you guys how I would do it. And I think with this one, I have a weird clip, so I'm going to do some cuts with the syncing, but I'll show you guys what I do. Okay, so first sync here, like I said, we're going to throw it there, and then the second sync is probably a little too soon. I think there's one after this, which I might go for, so let me just play this out real quick. I'm actually going to make the gameplay a little lower here. We're going to go to the audio track, put it down to about 5, I think, yeah. -5 decibels. So first sync. So it's pretty much perfect, but we're going to cut there a tiny bit and just make it a little bit faster. We're going to bring it in a little bit, like I said, Control, and bring it in. And now that might sync a little bit better. So right now, I think there's too much of a gap here between this sync, and then the next shot. I could speed it up, but it's pretty fat. Like, that's a good amount of speeding up. Like, right now, I'm going to do it. I've run quite a bit, so it just doesn't look fluent. So what I'm going to do is actually just cut that, drag this back out again, cut that, put this on the sync point here, and then what I'm going to do is just a tiny 2-frame fade here on the sync point, and then that would just merge that little movement. So I go from here to here. I'm a little bit closer, and then the fire goes off on the next point, and then we'll move on from there. At a point like that, I would throw on like a screen pump, which I'm going to get into. I guess I'll show you right now. May as well. So a screen pump, what I would do is I would actually move this back to, this is a sync point right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on to motion effects, right? So I'm going to put this to the left here. Boom. All right, so this is all about keyframes, and this is going to keyframe the whole track. So any videos you put on this track here, it's going to keyframe. So I'm going to throw on a keyframe there, which is the basic layout. This is what the raw gameplay looks like now. And if I wanted to, I could zoom in by doing this. Zoom out, zoom in. Like I said, make sure the lock aspect ratio is ticked or selected, I guess you would say. And what you want to do is you want to add some impact to the video, so the sync isn't just the only thing that's affecting the song. Like, you're actually changing the gameplay so it works with the song as well. So it's not just the audio, you're actually changing the gameplay too. So you're making it zoom in a little bit, you're making it pop, whatever it may be. So that's what we're going to do here. So right now I'm going to restore the box to what it was. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, and I work with one keyframe. So I'm going to go one keyframe back, right click on the motion track part and reset box. Okay, and for here, what I want to do on the sync point, I want to zoom in a little bit. Okay, so I want to zoom in. I'll probably go to about, just to show it off, I'll put it to like 1950, something like that, which is a little bit more than I normally would, but just to show you guys what it is that I'm trying to achieve here. So right now we're going to go to 1950. We're going to add a little angle to it, probably like 0.2. You can do minus or positive if you want. Depends which way you want it to rotate. And right now, as you can tell, one keyframe, second keyframe, you zoomed in a little bit more. And it just adds a little bit of pop, a little bit of movement within the gameplay to merge with the song. So right now what we're going to do is play that out. It probably doesn't really notice too much. I'm going to put this to preview auto right now. It might have been lagging that whole time. I'm sorry if it was. But we're going to put it to preview auto so it's a little bit smoother for you. So right now, you probably can't tell too much. So we're going to find out where the next sync point is going to be. And I'm going to move it back to normal, okay? So what I would normally do is speed these two parts up. So I would cut here before the shot, cut after that shot, and speed that up. But because I do this weird thing where I scope in right here and then scope out again, it just doesn't look good. So I want to cut all that out, and I'm going to throw it on another sync point. I'm going to make this one the final sync point, I think. Is that what I'm going to do? No, I want to make this one the final sync point. So I want to make sure the final shot's on there. And what we're going to do here is just cut that back a bit. I'm going to throw on a little bit of pace. So we're going to cut there, and I'm going to find the other sync point that I want to roll with. So let me just play this here. So it's here. It's not really a sync point, like no beat or anything. It just says a word that's louder, I guess, than everything else. And that's a really good point to throw that in there. And we're going to go off this sync point for the cut. Hopefully, I'm not going too quick for you here. And then we're going to have the little cut there, which could be another screen pump if I wanted. And I think I'll actually throw it on. I don't know. We'll see. So let me play this out and show you guys what I've got. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw a second screen pump here so I can carry on what I was talking about. So right now, it's zoomed in. As you can tell, it's zoomed in, and it shouldn't be. It should be back to normal by now. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the zoomed in keyframe, which we've already got, 1950 here, with a little bit of an angle. We're going to keyframe that on the sync point. Obviously, we're going to go back one keyframe again. We're going to right click on here, restore box. So what it's going to do, did I just move the track there a tiny bit? I don't know if I did. So what it's going to do is going to pop out here, tiny bit, and then it's going to slowly go back to its normal settings, you know, back to the regular, then boom, it's going to pop back out again. It just works the clip into the song a little bit more rather than being like static and stationary. So we've got that there, and what I would normally do is fade that out a little bit more. So we're going to go to, I don't know, around here, and we're just going to restore the box there, and then it's going to add the keyframe in, so it's going to go back to its normal self. So alongside that, what I would normally do is add some like flash, not really a flash, but some brightness to it. So it adds a little bit more impact to the shot, to the sync, whatever it may be. So we're going to go with levels right now. We're going to go for default, drag it onto the video track, and we're going to go down to the sync points. We're going to work with these. So right now you can drop down the keyframes there if you want. You can work alongside these. It's going to be the same points, perfectly easy. So what we're going to do, we've actually got to set the keyframe to animate first. So we're going to animate that. We're going to bring this keyframe forward if you want. It's going to be default anyway, so it's not going to change anything. Right now, nothing's changing. But as soon as we get to this other keyframe here, we're going to start changing it. So I'm going to use the input end, and obviously that looks like lightning right there, but we're going to use this one. I'm going to change it to 0.8. This is the most common one I use. It adds a little bit of brightness. And then what that's going to do is just add a little bit more of effect, a little bit more impact, I guess you would say, to the video. And then we're going to go down to the second pump here. We're going to go to the second keyframe again, add the keyframe at 0.8. and then we're going to go back a keyframe and put it to 1. It's going to go from 1 to 0.8 in 1 frame. So it just adds a little pump. You can do a couple of frames if you want, but I like to do it instantly. I feel like it works well with this song too. So obviously you've got no changes here, normal gameplay, boom, 1 frame later, zoomed in, a little bit of a flash, I guess you would say. And then by the time it gets here, the clip's zooming back out, going back to its normal state, it's going back to the normal levels, then boom, zooms back in on the sync point. Okay, this is just randomly here. I would normally throw that in a little bit later, so I'll show you guys what I'll do there. So right now, let me just play this out and figure out where the final sync point is, where I'm going to transition out from this clip. So right here, this is where I want to go. I don't want to show any extra bit. Right now, I'm actually going to get rid of this keyframe. I don't want it here. I don't want it. So right now, this is a transition technique that I use a lot. And I'm going to close this levels thing here. And this is where it closes in on itself. So what you're going to need to do here is go to view pan crop once again. And we're going to untick lock aspect ratio. Right now, it's going to be all over the place. You can zoom in. You can just ruin all the black bars. But right now, it's not going to like stretch the clip or anything. That's what stretches a clip. And then it just, ruins it right there. So we're going to restore that. Pop that on. But untick lock aspect ratio. Right now, we want to do this technique where it zooms in and closes like this. So it zooms in. Comes from here, zooms in and closes. And you've probably seen it if you're watching my montages. This is what I use a lot. So we're going to go to the final keyframe here. What I'm going to do is bring it down. Okay, so that's all you're going to bring it from the corner. What you want to get it to is 0 height. Okay, 0 height like that. Probably should have done that at the end because it's going to move now. But then we're going to bring it in a little bit. Bring it in so it's going to zoom in as it closes. So I'll probably do it to about there. Put this back to 0. Might want to add a little bit of rotation. Probably put it on like -3, -2 maybe. And then what that's going to do is obviously right now, it's just really, really slow at doing that. But we're going to add it to the final frame here. Delete this one. Add it to the final frame. Then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Right click, restore. And what you're going to do, cycle through here. It's going to zoom in. Obviously, you could do it slower. Put it 5 keyframes. I'll probably put it to that so you can see what is happening. But right now, we're going to play this out. All the thing, it's going to close transition out on that sync right there. And we're going to bring it in. Actually, what I'm going to do right here is slow-mo this first bit. So we're going to cut there with S, bring this in, click Control, drag this out, and we're going to use this for just the intro before the actual clip starts. So we're going to, like I said, right-click, lock to stretch, and we're going to play this out. Various women, I'm swimming in like a shark, tear the pussy apart, shorty it's on after dark, step to the mic and now I got... And there you go. That's just simple technique, simple synchronizing. Don't be worried about the cuts where you have to do them. Like I said, if there's a gap in between the clip and you don't want to speed it up drastically, don't worry about that. Just do a little cut and then add a little pump if there's a sync point, which I've done there. Then what I would do, I'm going to throw in another clip just to show you guys some extra things right now. I've already thrown them in, haven't I? Yeah, they're already here. So we're going to do into quad feed. Let's do this. So we're going to throw this in here. The gameplay is way easier to use here. The audio is just so much clearer than remastered, so way easier to find. Right now, though, the audio is going to be louder than remastered, so what we're going to do is going to click on our audio track here, insert audio envelopes, volume, and what we're going to do here is just add a keyframe, similar to the velocity stuff, add another keyframe, bring it down, so by the time this bit comes in here, it's going to be lower and probably the similar level as the remastered stuff. So let me just play this and find the sync points here for what I want to do for this intervention clip. Step to the mic and now I got you, call me Young Sinatra. The flow is prominent, hella dominant, on time in it when I'm rhyming it. To the labels itching to sign with it. I think I'm going to do a fade. I think I'm actually going to do a fade here and bring this in. Obviously, this gameplay just needs to go there. I'll put it to like 4.3. All right, let's fade this in. You just grab the quarter, drag it in. You do the audio as well if you want. Step to the mic and now I got you, call me Young Sinatra. And this is where I want a little pump here. So what we're going to do, obviously, is right now it's zoomed in. It's brighter, as you can tell. So what we want to do is come here. We're going to add the keyframe in here. Boom. And then go back one and restore. And we're going to do the same with the levels. Go to levels. Add the keyframe in here at 0. Actually, it's not going to be as big of an impact. So we're going to put 0.85. Bring it back one. Put it to 1. And it's just animated there. I probably should have done that after I've synced this second clip up. But I just wanted to show you guys how to kind of reset it on the new clip. Because obviously it's all on the video track. You can put anything here and it's going to affect what you throw in there. It's not going to change depending on the clip or whatever. So here we go. So I want a little bit of slow-mo here because it's a little bit too quick. The sync is a little bit later. So I'm going to cut this here a tiny bit. Not really noticeable. You're not going to notice this. Properties, log to stretch. Try this again. Sync this up.
Call me young Sinatra. The flow is prominent, hella dominant, on time when I'm rhyming.
Once again, this third shot here is a little bit before the sync, so we're going to add a little slow-mo before. We're going to add it here, just a little slow-mo here, nothing too much. Drag that out. Boom, log to stretch. Should sync up nicely.
Gotcha, call me young Sinatra. The flow is prominent, hella dominant, on time when I'm rhyming. To the labels itching a.
So right now, what I want to do actually is use this other sync point to do a little cut once again, and I want to end the shot on this sync point right here, I think. Yeah. So I would honestly prefer to end it on here, just because that's the way the bar ends, I guess, in the rap. If you listen, not in the rap, in the instrumental, but. We're going to go back and we're going to use this as a cut. So now that's synced up, I want to actually use this sync point here to make progress. I get a couple of kills after, which I'm just going to show anyway. And we're going to cut to these two shots, and I'm actually just going to cut both of them. Nothing really too crazy here. Just going to cut there, probably find a little point there and cut there, and then end this clip right here. So let me just have a listen real quick. On time when I'm rhyming, to the labels itching a sign with it. Let's check the women. And then this would be another point here where I transition out. I don't get any more kills after that. I actually choked. So I transition out to another clip, and I'll show you a couple of transition techniques that I have here. So we're going to throw on this Barrett clip. So right here, I would put this to about 10 frames, and I would add a transition called New Blue Roll. Okay, it's a transition package, I guess you would say. They have video effects as well, but New Blue, Google it if you find it. It's really helpful. This is what I use for a lot of transitions. And I'm going to add push left. It's a default one. I didn't change anything for it here. What it's going to do is going to push it across with a little bit of blur, and it just works really well on like just basic syncs. Let's check the women I'm bringing in with these ill synonyms. So it's just quick. It just works with the song, and I think it looks nice. It really does. So there's push down, push right, and all that good stuff. I use the push stuff, but if you don't have the New Blue, you might just want to have a nice smooth transition. Honestly, it's all about the syncing. As long as you have good syncing, which is what we've got so far, it really doesn't need any crazy transition. So I'm going to put this to about 15 this time. Obviously, the sync point is around here, so you want the merge to happen right around there. What we're going to do is we're going to add blur and black and white, which is a common thing I do for my transitions. So we're going to go to blur here, throw on the default. Obviously, you're not going to have any of these keyframes, so we're going to put it to 0 on both. Then we're going to add animate to both of these. Add a little keyframe, probably just before the fade. Boom, one right there, one right after the fade. And then in the middle, we want to put this to probably like 0.05. Like, you really don't need much of a blur. And this is just for regular blur. If you're using rock, you might just want to use horizontal. I haven't edited to rock in a while, but 0.05 there. And then, as you can tell, we just got a simple blur fade, which works really well with just like any kind of relaxing music. And then we're going to have some black and white. So we're going to throw the default one on again. Obviously, you won't have any of my presets, any of my keyframes here. We're going to put it to 0, animate once again, add a keyframe before. You can work with the blur keyframes down here, add a keyframe after, and then in the middle, we're going to put it to 1. And right now, you've got a basic blur, black and white, fade. Like, it really doesn't need to be anything crazy. That just doesn't look too good at all, but you're obviously going to tweak it and whatnot. You can add color correction to your gameplay. I use Magic Bullet Lux, which is another external, whatever you want to call it. You just download it, install it to your computer. But you can also just use color curves. If you're using some rock, just throw on some color curves right here, throw that on, and just bring the brights up, make it a little bit brighter, and then make the darks a bit darker, and it just adds just some more crisp colors to the video rather than just being so like bland or whatever. Just simple stuff like that. That's all you need to do. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just focus on the syncing of the gameplay. That's all you need. And obviously we've left this zoomed in. So I'm going to zoom this back out, restore box, add a keyframe there, go to levels. And obviously I'm all over the place right now because I'm trying to just show you guys what it is, but obviously I would pay more attention to where I'm throwing these, but I'm just going to throw them in anywhere right now. So let me add in a couple of extra things to show you guys how it's done. So I'm going to slow-mo this all the way back here. We're going to have some text. We're going to throw some text on here. Insert text media there. We're going to throw on some text. We're going to put face Spratt. Moonflower is one that I use a lot. Moonflower Bold. Just a free font. It's really good. Works well with like rap and stuff. We're going to put face Spratt there. And then to bring it in, let me just listen to the sync once again. Bring the gameplay here. And we're going to use 3 keyframes. 1, 2, 3. Lands on the sync. 1, 2, 3. It lands on the sync. The next sync point is there. So we're going to make sure the text ends before that. 1, 2, 3, keyframes in, create keyframe. It's just simple, normal stuff as it is right now. Make sure you go back and click lock aspect ratio because we obviously have changed that earlier. Go back to the first keyframe, zoom it all the way in. As far as you can go. It doesn't really have to be precise because it comes in 3 keyframes like that, and it zooms down, and then by the end, you want to zoom out a little bit. Rotate a little bit, boom, 1, 2, 3, and then by the time you get near the end, it's zooming out. You could probably add a little bit of rotation. Did I do that? Yeah, a little bit of an angle to it. And then when the other one comes in, I'm just going to copy this. Yes, create a new copy. 1, 2, 3. I would usually have some kind of pump here on the screen, but I can't bother to do that right now. And then by the time we want that to end before we start playing the gameplay in real time, change this to cool. All right, and then it's going to do the same thing right now. And then to bring the gameplay in, we're going to do the same transition we did at the end of this clip. We're going to do it at the start. So 1, 2, 3, create a keyframe, go back to the first frame. Right now, I've got it as transition, a preset. So what it's going to do, it's going to bring the gameplay out with the font that's flying in. So let's play this together. You know, nothing too crazy. We could add, if we wanted, some letterbox effect. We're going to go to another video track, media generator, solid color, throw on the black here. That's all you need. Video effects, and we're going to go to cookie cutter. This is a letterbox effect. You probably see in films and stuff. It just adds a little bit of, I don't know, it just looks good, all right? It looks good. So I'm not going to show you guys the preset. Obviously, we're going to go through it here. So we're going to go to square, method, cutaway section. Going to put repeat X all the way to 10, and we're going to put the size to like, I don't know, 5.1, do you think? Just so you can see what it looks like here. And then we're going to put that by itself up the top there. Obviously, we're editing with the gameplay here. We will probably edit with the audio down at the bottom, but I just wanted to show you guys at the top. This is what it's going to look like, all black there. Obviously, other people do this in different ways, but that's how I do my letterbox. But let's play this out. Nothing too crazy, but yeah, let's do it.
Various women, I'm swimming in like a shark. Tear the pussy apart. Shorty, it's on after dark. Step to the mic and now I got you. Call me Young Sinatra. The flow is prominent, hella dominant. On time with it when I'm rhyming it. Send the labels itching to sign with it.
And maybe what I would do here is just slow-mo it. Slow-mo this out. Maybe add a little bit of a pump to this shot here, just so it has a bit more impact. But you get the idea. I don't want to repeat the process that I've done, but I just wanted to go over the points today. If it's certain effects you want to use in, you know, the video effects here, just use the keyframe method that I showed before. Pretty simple. You'll get used to it over time. Just get used to syncing. That's all it is. Have a good ear. Listen to the key points in the song that work well, and obviously just find a good song. It works with rock. It works with DMB. Whatever you use, there's points in the song that work well with, you know, gunshots and stuff like that. So I think I've covered everything today. Obviously, render settings, like I said, I don't really have the best settings right now, so I would just go to customize here. 1920 by 1080, 60 FPS. My BPS is 15 million, just whatever. Honestly, go to project, put it to best, whatever it may be. Like I said, whatever you can find online is probably better than I've got here, but if you want to see them, there they are. But that's going to do it here. Thank you guys for watching. I hope it helped. If there's anything that I missed, any basic effect or basic transition, whatever it may be, let me know. Yeah, I think that's everything. I think I covered everything. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope it helped you out. If it did, let me know. I'd really appreciate it. Like I said, it's not for everyone, so if you've been around to the end, I hope you enjoyed and I hope it helped you out. So thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.